In 2025, the music stopped. A voice that had colored generations fell silent. Brian Wilson, the man who rewrote the language of pop, was gone. But his final chapter isn't simple. It's filled with unfinished songs, unreleased notes, a secret playlist, and a 47-minute phone call that no one can trace. What he left behind is a mystery, and what we think we know about his last years is about to be shattered. Brian Douglas Wilson started small, a boy from California with a gift for melody. He didn't just write pop songs, he built soundscapes. Layers upon layers, voices stacked like architecture, instruments placed like brushstrokes on a canvas. He turned the studio itself into an instrument. Pet sounds, good vibrations, music that sounded like sunlight, yet hid a storm. He gave the world joy, and he gave himself a way to survive. Because genius rarely comes without a price. Perfectionism, pressure, years of mental illness. The man who could arrange a 40-piece symphony in his head sometimes couldn't remember breakfast. That tension became his hallmark. Sunshine and shadow, harmony and silence. You can hear both in every record, and you can feel both in his final days. In his last years, Brian lived quietly. He stepped away from the spotlight, but he never stopped working. Notes scribbled on scraps of paper, half-finished recordings, hummed ideas caught on old machines. Friends said he found comfort in the familiar. Counterpoint, melody, harmony, the building blocks of his life. But time was unkind. Dementia crept in, stealing memory, rearranging the map of his mind. Still, music returned in flashes, small motifs, quiet fragments, songs no one else would ever hear. Then, June 2025, doctors gave the words, respiratory arrest. 82 years old. The headlines praised a genius. The obituaries celebrated a life, but behind the public story, there were loose pages, fragments of a final curtain playlist, unreleased sketches, untitled melodies, files left unnamed, and something else. A call, 47 minutes long, to a number that still has no trace. 3 weeks before his death, Brian Wilson made that call. Nobody in his family knew. His caretakers were unaware, but the record shows 47 minutes, and after it ended, something changed. Caretakers noticed it first. He began humming again, new songs, strange harmonies, melodies that felt like they didn't belong to this world. Some called it a late bloom. Others whispered it was unnatural. He spoke in fragments, words that sounded like prophecy. The last wave crashes silent. Harmony fades to black. The conductor's final bow. Was Brian writing his farewell? Or was something or someone guiding him in those final days? Then, just as suddenly, the call stopped. The melodies ended, and Brian Wilson waited. For what? We still don't know. When the news broke, the world froze. Paul McCartney called him the greatest. Elton John called him the Shakespeare of song. But in the silence that followed, we realized something larger. Brian Wilson didn't just die. A language died with him. For 60 years, he proved that pop music could be art, that 3 minutes could hold entire universes. That harmony wasn't just about music. It was about healing. His legacy is contradiction itself, a fragile genius who built eternal strength through song. A troubled mind that gave the world its purest joy. Every note he wrote was a reminder. Beauty can rise from brokenness. And maybe, just maybe, his final playlist, if it exists, is the last piece of that lesson. A message only music can deliver. Will we ever hear it? Maybe. Maybe not. But we can still feel it every time those harmonies wrap around us like sunlight after rain. This is only the prologue. Somewhere, sealed away, are recordings, notebooks, whispers of the final melodies Brian Wilson left behind. If you want the truth, if you want the next chapter, you cannot walk away now. Subscribe right now. Next week, we reveal the Brian Wilson tapes his estate never wanted you to hear. And in the comments, tell us, which Brian Wilson song still speaks to your soul? Which harmony saves you? Which lyric feels like a goodbye? Share this story. The world must remember what we lost. Some secrets in music refuse to stay buried.